Hey guys, today we are starting off in a little bit of an unlikely place, which is Substance Painter. And what we're going to do is we've done a blocking out of a PCB. So here is our very simple PCB, okay? And from there, what you normally do, now this model done in Blender, I've set it to 3 different materials. So we can see our 3 different materials in Substance Painter. Now the way Substance Painter normally works, I'll do this anyway, I've already done it but we'll just do it again, is you normally start off in here in layers, right? So we'll delete that. Then we go into texture settings and we basically say bake the maps. We turn off ID, then bake all texture sets. Okay, that gets us ready to actually do our texturing. Now we're not going to do anything fancy. As I said, I'm not talented enough and this model isn't detailed enough that we can do like a super duper PCB. But it will give us an idea. So from there, we can go back to layers. And then I think what we do here is we select PBR model metal rough with alpha blending, right? Now I can't remember how we do that, but it's kind of better, right? So that'll do us there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do our main first, right? And our main is going to come from a material which is this main circuit. I went on last night on Substance Share and got a few materials which we might find useful. And this is one of them, which isn't perfect, but as you can see, it gives us a kind of a circuit board type look, and we can actually do some stuff with this, right? Where is it? Right, now there was parameters that went with this which don't seem to be showing up anymore. I don't know why. Alright, so that's weird. There was, like, earlier on when I done this, I can actually show you here, right? I could actually turn different colors and stuff, but for some reason now there doesn't seem to be parameters don't seem to be showing up. I don't get it. Right, so we've got a layer here. We probably want to delete that. And then we'll add a fill layer. And we want, see, there's something happened here that the properties aren't showing up. Well, here's the properties here, but I used to have it much better than this. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right, so in here we can change this to like a darker grey or something. And that looks okay, but yeah, whatever. Right, now if we go back to main, so that's still not got the properties of our smart material. If anybody's got any ideas on that, let me know. Because this ain't showing all the properties. Is this because I changed the shader? Right, okay. Let me put this back. And we still don't have it. We've done the edge, right? But I think what we'll do is we'll change the colour to a black, right? Now, under normal circumstances, what I would actually do here is click on the connector, right? And we can see here, this is the actual UV. Right, so what we could do here is we could add a layer, right? Then we can change the color. Let's say we make it green. I'm just showing you guys what you can do with Substance Painter, by the way. Right, and now what we can do is we can add a layer. This is going to go on top, right? And we can select a color. So let's say we want a kind of a, you know, what it would normally be. I mean, this is a bit bright, but so we could drop it down to there, I suppose, right? But what we can do here is we can go to our brush, right? Now, if I'm right, what we can do is, no, it shouldn't be doing that. Control undo that. But what I want to do is do like a line. I don't know why it's doing that. It's too long since we used this, to be fair. Or the other thing we could do is actually draw onto the model itself. Right? Right, and that's rubbish. So, but here we can probably I mean, it's kind of rubbish, but is it the control button? I thought it was a shift or something. Right, but you can basically see that I can draw onto the actual model. Right, now you can draw lines, but for whatever reason I seem to have forgotten how to do a line, even though I know it's supposed to be just hold and shift. But basically what we can do is we can draw our like connectors, right? And we probably want to zoom in up. And for whatever reason, as I said, it's a bit weird how this isn't drawing like drawing a line. Even though that's exactly what I want it to do. But we can imagine from here, right? I'll just do a little bit. As I said, this isn't working quite right. I've not used Substance Painter in quite a while, so I've probably forgot everything. But I should have been able to draw like a line quite simply by like holding the shift and drawing it down there. And it doesn't seem to work. Right, when I let go of that, it should draw the line, but it doesn't, which is bizarre, because I've used this before in lots of things, but it doesn't seem to work now. It won't work. Right, but we're just blocking this out, so it doesn't actually really matter too much. Right, as I said, it's not going to be a final model or a final texture, so we're just basically doing some kind of prototyping and seeing what things look like when we bring them into the game. Which for this purpose should be okay. Right, so as you can see, we've got a kind of a thing. Right, so now what you do is we export the textures. Okay, we go to configuration, we tell it that it's Unreal Engine 4 packed, and that gives us our base color, our ambient occlusion, roughness and metallic, and our normal, right, which is basically what we normally need. If we were using emissive, we'd use that as well. And then we basically select where we're going to send it to, and we have already got PCB textures, right? So if we select that and then export, that's going to replace the ones we've already got, right? So we can OK that and close that. We'll just save it. Okay, we'll just call it PCB. Okay, PCB instead of PCV. We'll save that just for a laugh. Right, so now if we actually reload, this was the original, right? But what we can do is we can re-import, then we can re-import and re-import, doesn't seem to have done it. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go to here. Oh, right, okay. I've got you. Right, so basically I have a whole new set. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new folder. Right, we've got a far bigger list of textures this time because we got the connector, we've got the 3 different sets of textures here. Right. So things will change a bit here. So we're going to create material, and it's going to be matte connector. Then we'll just duplicate that. That's going to be matte edge. And then we'll duplicate that, and this is going to be matte main. Okay, because our new PCB is actually different. Okay, I'll show you that, right? So if I do this and then we re-import it, it should, yep, you see how it all actually is now knackered, right? Well, that's kind of what I expected, and you'll notice now we've got 3 different materials, right? And we're going to have to do something with this. So in actual fact, this is going to go in the connector. That goes in there, and that goes in there. Okay, so if we do this one first, right, we're pulling out main. So the main base color is there, the main normal, that, the main different other things goes there. Then we can plug this in. This goes in the normal. Then red goes to ambient occlusion, green goes to roughness, blue goes to metallic. Save that. Right, and you'll notice now we've got our material. Right, so the next thing we do is we go on to, let's say, the connector, right, and we pull in our base color connector, base color normal, and that one. And again, base color goes to base color, normal goes to normal. We can put that to there. Green to roughness, and blue to metallic. Save that. And now if we look at the PCB, there is our little connectory things, okay? And the edge isn't really anything, it's just basically a black fill there, but we'll do it anyway, just for practice. We've got connector, 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 edge, edge, right? So edge base color, as you can see, it is just black, and it's not going to have any normal or any other stuff, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Obviously you do the other ones if you had actually done some detailing on this, but we haven't, so we'll just leave it there. And now you can see that our PCB looks how we actually done it, right? Not saying it's great, obviously, it's rubbish, but that isn't the point at the moment. So there is how we get something from Substance Painter and do a little painting on it and do a texturing on it and get it into Unreal Engine. And now to get it into the game, right, what we need to do is, if we go to recipes and then we go to items, the question is, do we have a PCB? And the answer is no. So we can add one. If it gets around to adding one, of course. And there we go. So PCB, and I didn't want to do that actually, but right. So we've got PCB. Now the next thing we need to do, if we're going to add this to our recipes, is add it to items. Okay, so we're going to add an item, and it's going to be PCB. And this one is going to be PCB, and it's going to be done in a fabricator. Now we haven't got an image for this yet. Now I don't know if we've got some sort of a, let's see if we've got something, not got anything. Okay. Let's just do that. Don't know what, it just looks ridiculous, but it doesn't really matter. Right. And this is going to be PCB. Craft by hand, we'll say yes. Value, let's say 5. The handcrafting time, let's say 5. Is placeable, no. Then we'll set it to a graph color, I suppose. And green. Okay. Probably it should be tradable by, it should be tradable. Right, so we'll save that. And then we'll add it into our recipe table. Product out is PCB. Product out image is, suppose we're just going to have to add a decal again. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does matter about that. let's just go with that. And we'll just make a input as iron sheet. Right, now it's obviously this is going to change, right? But we'll say it needs 2 iron sheet, and then output is obviously PCB and not minor 2. It's going to be PCB, and we're going to output 1. Then it's where it's made, and it's going to be made in a fabricator. Okay, and if we save that, we should now be ready to actually make it. So we did a lot of stuff there, apparently. Right, so what we can do here is we can change our fabricator and then just change it to make PCBs. Then we can stop it just now because I know I forgot to do something. Right, so all of these are going to have to be set to instance mesh. Okay, so click on that. Because everything on the production line is going to be instance meshes, then we need to set each of the materials that are on these different products to be instance meshes, right? To be used with instant meshes. So we need to do this one. And there. Save that. And now, if all of my systems are working and in place, I should be able to generate a brand new, never to be forgotten PCB. And then when I look at it in the storage container and all the rest of it, it's going to show me the right icons, it's going to show me the right things, and it's all going to work really great. You'll notice now PCB, so we can click that, PCB, close that, and now we can click on that. There we go. And then finally, we can put it in our storage container. Okay. And let's have a look, see how this is actually going. And I'm an idiot. Okay, right, I'm an idiot. Because this minor is copper. So we're going to do PCB, close that. And we're going to have to see, yep, that's bauxite, that's fine. So we'll wait till everything is settled down and then we'll save it again. Okay. And now we want to join everything up, don't we? Because we want to actually see the size of our PCB, and then if we need to adjust the size, we can do that. There we go. And you'll now notice that our mesh for the bauxite is changed. Okay, we were playing around a bit with some models and stuff. Right, we'll speed it up a bit. And now we can take a look to see how our PCBs look. And I think there's a problem here because I think I haven't set the process time. Yeah, I haven't set the process time. So that wouldn't have worked. Darn it. Right, we do have our different things now though. Right, once this becomes available, we can set it to our PCB, close that, then we shall go to our connectors, okay. And then we can set it from here. There we go. Speed it up a bit. Getting lots of lovely stuff out. And there is our thing. Excellent. It's obviously a bit big. So what we can do here, right, is we can go to our PCB main, right, then we'll say 0.5 and we shall rotate it on the Z by 90, or let's say 45. And then re-import. Okay. And we'll try that again. Now we're going to be changing to that, so we may as well do that for now. And we're going to be setting it up to PCB. Okay. It's going to be out to in there. To in there. And then our second one, our minor, is going to come from here to here to here. Then we're going to set up a lot of workers. Then we're going to speed it up. Until we get some actual action here. And there we go. We're actually getting some action. Looking good. Could actually probably be better with it at 0.25. But this is giving us an idea of like the colours we're going to have to use to make it stand out. Right, but we're getting an idea of how it's going to look, which is pretty good. Everything's working as it should, which is the most encouraging thing. Right, so we can set that back to PCB again. And this time we should have a better idea doing this. And finally we can join up our minor. And there we go. Add some workers. Speed it up. And there we go. But that's the same size, and I know why. I've blipped it there because we changed it to 0.25, but we never re-imported. Bit of a goofball there. Well, thank you, Anti-Soon 101. That's very kind of you, mate. Do you want to see some more stuff going on? Since we're pretty quiet today. Right, so we'll join this up again and we'll look at the final look of our game. So it seems to be that the smaller items need to be 0.25. The sort of larger kind of items need to be about 0.5. Which is actually okay because that gives us a reasonable sort of scale on things. Did I change that recipe? Yeah, I did. No worries, mate. Thanks for popping by and thanks for the kind words. Right, so all we need to do now is add our minor to the chain. There we go. Then we need to add some minors, then speed it up, and now right, should be starting to get some stuff out now. Yeah, that's looking the business. As I said, we're going to need to make this sort of more sort of stand out, but you generally get the idea here that right, that's looking great. I'm really happy with that. Okay. Right, so the final part of this puzzle, right, if you want to look at it that way, would be right, let's do that. Okay, and then what we'll do is we shall Window Shift S, right, and what we'll do is get like an image of this. So this is normally how I do it, right? So I'll go to paint.net. This is my default for simple basic image editing, right? And then I'll paste this in, right? We'll expand it. Okay, so that's all great. And the next thing we're going to try and do is basically break up well, we're going to turn it down a bit. Right, so we can delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, that. We don't actually need to do, that'll do. We can delete that. We kind of don't want to do that, but we will do that and that. Right, we'll pull it back a bit. That'll do. That'll do. We just basically want to go round about the edge of our thing and hopefully delete out the stuff that's round about our PCB. Might turn this up a bit again to get a bit more. Right, we'll delete that, delete that. Okay, we'll delete that, just we might actually go back to a better way of doing this. I mean, this is going to give us a rough kind of a rough idea, basically. Undo that. Alright, we're going to have to switch that up a bit. Probably not. We'll just delete this stuff. I'm going to end up having to delete it anyway, but I'll delete that. Let's just delete that. As I said, this is just just to give a rough, nah, I'm not happy with that. Right, we're going to delete that. Don't save. Right, I'll tell you the way we're going to do it. What we're going to do is we are basically going to drag it, and I think this is going to be too bright. Yeah, it's going to be too bright. So we'll delete that. We shall actually go into our map. Right, now let me get an idea here. So if we go into maps and we drag it into our first map, we'll save all that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the edge of the map. Right, and then we're going to drop our PCB on here. Right, and then we'll zoom in. Okay, and then we'll do our right. So now we have a better sort of background that we can delete easier. So we just do new, okay, that, paste that, then we get our wizardy thing, and as you can see, this really basically does the whole thing for us. And I would say that's pretty much us, right? I don't really need to do a heck of a lot more here. I'm not even going to bother with mucking around with bit sides. I'm just going to delete this stuff. Right, there are quite a few little bits here and there, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go the easy route. I'm going to go like that and delete. Then I'm going to go like that and delete. And then like that and delete. I'm just trying to delete all the little pixels that were on the screen. And delete that. Delete that. And that'll do us. Right, so what we'll do is go to image, come on, image, resize. We're not going to maintain, and we're just going to go, let's say, 256 by 256. Okay, that'll do us. It's not perfect, let's face it, but it'll do for now. So we'll save that, and it's going into our imports. Products, and basically PCB, and we shall save that. Okay, and that's that done. So that's basically how I quickly do like an image straight from the game. As I said, don't think it's particularly perfect, but it does what I'm looking at to do from the purposes of that's interesting. So now what we want to do is we want to grab our product images, which is in our UI. So There we have images, and there we have our product. And basically now I can go to products over on the right hand side here, drag this into here, double click on that, then set it to UI and save that, then close it down. And now for our recipes, for our PCB, right, we call that PCB, and our image out, wait a minute, yeah, it's going to be PCB, so we can actually just drag this in here and save that. And we can go into DT items, and that's the mesh, and that's the PCB, and save that. Right, so we should be able to just press play here, and if we go to our inventory, you'll notice that we can build a PCB, right? Now obviously if we make this like a green colour like a normal circuit board would be, then that's going to work a lot better, right? But it's just to get something on the screen that's not hideous and stupid. And on that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a quick cigarette. So if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and subscribe, and check out the description for some other links that you might be interested in, and I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Right, we're back, and thank you very much, David. That's very kind of you. We've added our PCB, so we're gradually now going to try and start building up some things that we can build. So you can see now that in our inventory we can actually craft a PCB. Right? So all our systems are in place. All we need to do is add our model, add our image, and basically do it like so. Now the interesting thing is that's 500 by 500. That's even bigger. That's not quite so big. That's 400 by... This PCB we've made kind of small by the looks of it. I think what we'll do is we shall scale it up a bit. Right. So what we'll do is we'll go image, resize, we'll maintain aspect ratio this time, and we'll basically go 400. Okay, that. Then what we'll do is not that. Right, we shall grab this and we'll try that again because we're not kind of close enough to the edge. Right, so we'll grab that, we'll cut that, then we'll paste it back in, but we'll make it bigger. Oh. We'll undo that movement. Then we shall make it bigger. Then we shall move it back into the center. Right? And then we'll file, we'll save, we'll OK that, we'll close this, and then we shall re-import. Right? And we'll save that and close that. We'll stop this for a second. Now, I don't know why it's got all, well, I probably do know why it's got all these little artifacts, but we'll check it again and we'll say aye, we've got our bigger one, and now we've got a bigger one there. And that's all good. Right, so the thing we need to work on, well, we've got a few things we need to work on, but one of the things is we need to work on our product line and research tree and basically filling it out till it makes sense. Getting the products in, making up the product list and the levels and the consumption, etc., so that we can actually start making some stuff. Right? Now, what I'm thinking is, if we make, I'm just wondering if I have like a weapons crate, right, which would signify like let's say, right, so it's not going to be in there, and it's probably not going to be in here either. if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be in here. Right, which it's not. Right. Oh my god, the pipes, pylon, research, sheet, smelter. Wonder what this is. Oh, that's the storage thing. Right, okay. So right, we've got nothing there. I was sure that I had done some sort of a like a chest type thing. Hammer. Crystals, leaf pipes, sheet, smelter. Right, I don't know. So it's not there either. Right, so I don't know. I don't know as far as this goes where I've stored certain things. Right, I think what I'd have to do is do a search on .blend and see if I can find anything. Right. It's an interesting one, I think. Okay, that's not what I thought it was going to be. And it's not that either. But that's in C drive, right? Which isn't where I was basically storing all my Blender stuff. So I've probably got some folder that I started using for Blender that I ended up forgetting about, and it's somewhere else. Right, because I definitely do have some other things that I've done that might have been kinda useful as like a basis. Right, let's forget that. Let's just do new general. Okay, so basically what I'm talking about is here is just to do like like add a cube. Just wondering if it's got anything that I could actually. Probably not. Wait a minute. I want a worm. Probably I don't. If any of you guys in here know anything about Blender, right, let me know, because there's some things that should be easier for me to do that I want to do, but they don't seem to be as easy as I think. Right, beam builder. A simple star. Now what's it? I think I know what a twisted torus is. Yeah. And we don't want to do any of them. Alright, and we don't really want a gear, to be honest. Right, because what I want is actually like a wire coil, right? Which I kind of have seen how to do it, but it doesn't really do it how I want it to do it. Actually, you know what? There was like it was like pipes. You could do like a pipe. Right, it's not that though. Yeah, I just don't know enough about Blender to get this to work quite quickly, so I'm going to leave it at that. Right, so I'm going to do that. And then on my other screen I'm going to do a search on .blend. So just give me a second guys, we'll start that off and then we'll get back to what we're doing. So we'll do D drive, then a star .blend. Okay, we'll let that search away and see what it finds. Right, so where are we? Basically now what I need to do is start building out these things, right? So basically if I duplicate that, and then this becomes combiner 3, and then connector name becomes combiner 3, and then that all stays the same. Then we do conveyor, and we do conveyor 3, then we change that to conveyor 3, and then we can do duplicate that and we can say splitter 3, and that basically gives us our 3 different levels of combiner, splitter, and the other one, combiner, conveyor, and splitter, right? And our conveyor, it is conveyor, and everything else is going to be set to false at start. Now I'll show you what effect that has now. So if we save that, we press play, we bring up this, then we click on this, we now have these ones. Okay, whereas before we would not. And we can gradually start padding out, because a lot of the time when we're doing this stuff, this is all pretty empty. Now it will be pretty empty at the start, right? That's a foregone conclusion, but The point is that we don't want it to be. We want it to be fleshed out and looking good, right? And what I was actually going to do was stop that just now. So yeah, let's have a look at the other ones. So we've got a refiner, smelter, fabricator. These are all okay. We've got a research station, blah blah blah, all looking good. So we need to add in our number 3s and also our research stations. And take it for there. So that's okay. And we have DT menu buildings. Oh yeah, this is what we could do, right? We know now that we don't need the buildings, we don't need connectors, conveyors or connectors. We might not need, well, we're not going to need vehicles because vehicles are going to be down here as well. So basically now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5, 6, right? So if we look at that, that's 6 there, right? So we're cutting 33% off our other menu, at least. And what we'll do is we've got our enum menu name. In-game main menu is this one. Yeah, it's this one. Right? And then we're going to have a struct in-game menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new variable, right? And we're going to say in use. Okay. And we're going to save that. And then we're going to come to our menu and we're going to pick the ones that are in use and we're going to tick them. Right, so we're going to say that's in use. Stats are in use. Conveyors are not. Grid, let's say it's in use. Probe is definitely in use. And remove is in use. Okay. So we're going to save that. Right, and currently we're looking like this. But the next thing's going to be that main game menu. We're going to have a look at this. So we're going to go to our graph. Right, we're going to get our data table row names. Right. So let's have a look again here. This is coming from DT menu. Right? And we're going to say this equals true. Right? And then, so we're going to say that and that, then that is going to go in here. Okay? And there you go. It's taken out the ones that we've set to not in use. Okay. Now, what I'm thinking here is that this could actually go like up here. Right? So instead of it being like a vertical thing, although having said that, we would have to like change the way the text is done. But we could just do it directly below. It could be a vertical box instead of a horizontal box, right? But it's certainly possible. Anybody got any ideas on that one? Whether they think that's a good idea or bad idea or indifferent? Now it kind of looks to me like the grid could actually go, right? And see, I'm thinking the grid can go. I was never too keen on the grid anyway. Right, so let's take that out. And now we're down to 5. And it's definitely now becoming the case that we could put it up here. Give me 1 second, guys. Right, I'm going to dismiss that. So now we've really got only the stuff that matters, and the power isn't really even in use at the moment. So we don't even know if that's going to come into play, but the good thing is that we can just basically say power not in use, right? Save that, and if we want it back, we can just press this button, and that's going to bring it back onto our list. Right? But this is now looking absolutely like we should be putting it up here, right? Because it's very small for this particular. I mean, it could even go here, right? But that's kind of squishing it in. Whereas I think up here would be the better option. And then we could have like, if we need, we could actually put our like this thing. And then maybe something on the other side if necessary. So those would certainly make a bit more sense. So as I said, we're gradually cutting down the need for these different things. Right. Okay. So let's think of a different product that we could actually do. To be quite honest, mate, I've got no idea. Never used nanite. And it depends how you're using stuff as well. If it's like an instance mesh, then that can become a bit awkward as well. But I've never done anything with nanite, so I couldn't answer that question for you. And I wouldn't want to give you the impression that I can, so I'll leave it at that and say I don't know. But block all should work. But then having said that, you have to make sure both the objects have some sort of block on them, and they both have to have collision, right? Because you can apply collision to something, but if it doesn't have any kind of collision mesh, then it won't do anything, right? So, for example, right, if we look at, let's say, we want like a static mesh, right? So let's have a look at this mesh, right? This is the mesh. Now, there's nothing to say that this does not have, if I click on that, you can see it's got a mesh round about it. And if we do like a complex mesh, but your model might not have any collision, right? You can actually have things in your game that don't have collision meshes, right? So they're never meant to actually collide with anything. So that's the first thing to check. First thing to check is if your actual mesh has a collision mesh. Okay, but as I said, never used nanite, so I don't know. And yeah, no. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Right, so this is the part here that I'm going to have to change if I'm going to do it in a horizontal manner. Let me just have a look at this for a second. Yeah. It kind of becomes rubbish because you know what? this can kind of just become like a, like if I put that one there and that one there, then it just becomes like a kind of square thing, right? And there's nothing really wrong with that. And if I stuck it down in the corner here, it might actually look okay, or even this corner. But this doesn't look long enough to deserve like this space here. And when you think about it, it is taking up all this space in reality. Right? Now, in theory, let's try something. On the X, we're adding 40. On the Y, so this is coming down, down, down. Ah, right, this thing here, this is like a flip-flop. Right, this could have just been a flip-flop. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this as a flip-flop to actually remind me that it is actually a flip-flop. But it's like a I generated it flip-flop. Right? But if I plug that like that, that is basically the same thing. You see? Right, so basically this whole thing should be a flip-flop, Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. Okay, maybe I'm not. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it as it was, right, so that I can easily go back. Right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. And then I'm going to plug this in here. And here. It's funny how I ended up on this, isn't it? When basically my stream said that I was going to be doing something completely different. Right, so what we're going to be doing here is a flip-flop. Right? And we're going to be doing this. Right? But it's actually the X. We're not going to... Right, we're going to say Y equals Y. Right, we'll duplicate that. And then this is definitely not going to be that. It's going to be 37. It's going to be half of it, right? And then we're going to place that there. and then we're going to do that. Right, and then just for a laugh, we're going to plug this in here and see what happens. Okay. It's actually not as bad as you think it is. It's going to be 74. Right, and that is actually going to be 80. Right, now it's not quite right, because what we want to see is that what one is the first one and what one is the second one, etc, etc, right? And take it to there. So if we look at this, it's research, stats, do, right? Research, starts, probe, remove. Okay? Research, stats, probe, remove. Okay. So we do the first one. And then what we do is we add whatever it is we're going to add. And you know, the funny thing is, we can delete that. Right? And the strangest thing is, we can add that to here. Right? And we can basically drag this out a bit. And we do that, and this gets deleted. And in this case, we set we set count y to 0, and then that goes up to there. And we kind of do the same thing here. Now the thing is, we're actually moving x and we're counting y, so it's actually, this is okay. But we need to do the same thing as here. So let's try something. Let's say 80. And x needs to go higher. Right. So we need to do count x, get count x, and plus say 80. And that's not going to be, this is actually going to be a flip-flop now. Right. That's going to be control to there. And that's going to be, it's going to be nothing. Yeah, just about right. Stop that. And if we say 40, this isn't still going to be quite right. Yeah. So it's that plus an offset. So we need an offset. So this is going to be like x offset, and it's going to be an integer, and we're going to save it, and then the default is going to be 40. Okay, so I'm going to add a pin there, and it's going to be in there. Get it offset, and then we'll bang it in there, and that's going to truncate that for us. And let's have a look at this, and it's, well, it's offset is 20 then. I mean, it could be. Save that. That's not right. I'll have to have a think about that. So what did we say it was? Research, stats. Right, so let's say the offset is 40, right? Let's say the offset is actually 40. What does that actually do? And the offset shouldn't be 440 like. So it's that, then it should be that, then it should be that, then it should be that. So it's just not getting the Y correct. No, the X is off. Right, okay. So that is correct. The problem is it should be that stats, right? So when it is when this is Y, sorry, when Y is not this, we should be doing something slightly different. Let me just try something. Right. Right. I should really do this from the start rather than trying to do something otherwise. Right, and on that, guys, I think I'm going to call it. So if you've enjoyed the stream, thanks for joining, and hit the like and subscribe. If you want further information, look at the description. You can support the channel and help out by checking out my game on Steam and adding it to your wish list. Or if you're feeling particularly generous, then buying it or join the Patreon. And you'll also find my Discord, which you're welcome to join. Hi Jameson, I'm just heading anyway, it's time for me to stop for this afternoon. I shall be back at 8 PM Central. We'll get this working. I'm going to do this from the start rather than trying to actually force the code round into what I want to do. I'm as well just deleting all this stuff and basically getting it to work for the start, right? And taking it from there. So with that in mind, thanks for joining again, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye bye for now.